Hello, my name is Maisa and I'm an Emeritus Professor of Finnish as a second language at the University of Jyväskylä. My own teaching experience comes from teaching academic people, but when Taina Tammelin-Laine, who is a member of this project, became interested in writing a doctoral dissertation on learning Finnish by people who have no previous education, who are non-literate, I became involved with this aspect of learning Finnish. And because Taina is in this project to provide the theoretical knowledge in this area, I will concentrate here on what I've learned from the volunteer work, which I have been doing since I retired a couple of years ago. In Jyväskylä there is a multicultural center where people can come. Anybody can just walk in and get involved with activities there or suggest and conduct activities there. And there 3 mornings each week we have a group for people who want to learn Finnish and who are not currently taking a sort of official language course or anything else. Originally mainly housewives, but there are a lot of other people too. It is a very non-systematic way of learning because each time we have a different set of volunteers and different set of learners there. So when I go there I never know what I'll be doing. But if you start from the usage-based theories of language learning, that's not really an issue because whatever you hear there is something that you can use as material for learning more Finnish. We also have a group there that works by repeating sentences. It is intended for very beginners and they take a topic each week and then learn by repeating with no reading or writing. A few observations about what I've learned there. I think that one issue is that people who have never gone to school lack the learning skills which people with some kind of education usually have, and that is not only about learning but about life in general, that it reflects on many areas of life. Many people find it very hard to come to a certain place at a certain time or keep their papers in order and things like that. So I think it's quite important that there are sort of full-time courses for people so that they also learn to study in a systematic way. But in this very non-systematic way of learning, it is very important that there's some kind of mutuality there. Many of these learners find it difficult to use a textbook because they cannot quite imagine the people that are acting in the textbooks, while they find it much easier to talk about themselves and their own life. And I think that in these contexts it's important to have a sort of mutuality there, that if I ask them a lot of questions, I also offer information about myself. And also learning a few words of the language of the learner is important because that gives them the opportunity to be the more knowledgeable person in that interaction. Most of the low-educated or non-literate learners are women, and for them family is the center of their life. They come with their children and often the children take a great deal of their time even in the learning situation, because even if we have somebody there to look after the children want to be with their mother. And many of them also have a sick or disabled family member at home because quite often the refugee status was granted for that reason, or they have relatives back home who call them on Skype all the time and are crying there saying that I want to come with you and you know, that type of things. So it's very difficult for many of these people to concentrate on studying. So I think the key words for teaching Finnish to this group is that you have to be very flexible and teaching has to be very individually based. That's of course very difficult in classroom situations where you have large groups, but in this type of volunteer work we often manage to work with 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time, and I think that in that way it is quite important that this sort of opportunities for learning exist also, not only the official language courses.